Lila Thornton was used to the busy streets of London, the constant hum of the city, and the endless pursuit of her dreams as a musician. When she received the unexpected news that her Aunt Violet had passed away, leaving her the old family house in Cornwall, she felt a strange mix of emotions. The house was far from her life in the city, nestled deep in the quiet countryside. Despite her doubts, Lila decided to take a break from the chaos and visit the house. Upon arrival, the large weathered building stood silent under the gray sky, surrounded by overgrown gardens and towering trees. The air smelled of earth and memories. Inside, the house was filled with relics of a family long gone. As Lila explored the dusty rooms, she found a small wooden box tucked away in the attic. The box was old but carefully crafted. Inside lay a delicate music box, its surface decorated with intricate patterns. When Lila wound the key and the box began to play, a haunting melody floated through the air. It was unlike anything she had heard before. The music seemed to carry a weight, a story waiting to be told. Later, while speaking with her mother, Margaret, over the phone, Lila shared her discovery. To her surprise, Margaret's voice grew tense. She warned Lila not to trust the music box and spoke of secrets Aunt Violet had kept hidden for years. This was just the beginning. The box held more than a melody. It carried a mystery that would pull Lila deep into the past of the Thornton family. Lila spent the night in the old Thornton house, the music box resting carefully on the bedside table. The haunting tune had stayed with her, echoing softly in her mind. She tried to focus on the notes, the gentle rise and fall, as if the melody was trying to speak directly to her. In the morning, she explored the house more thoroughly. The walls were lined with portraits of stern-faced ancestors, their eyes seeming to follow her as she moved. Dust motes danced in the sunlight that filtered through heavy curtains. Lila's thoughts kept drifting back to the music box and the warning from her mother. She dialed Margaret's number again, wanting to understand more. Margaret's voice was softer this time, but still heavy with unease. "You must be careful with that box, Lila," she said quietly. "It's tied to things we don't fully understand. Aunt Violet kept it locked away for a reason." Lila pressed for details, but Margaret only sighed. "There's a melody in that box that's more than just music. It's a message from the past, a secret that has haunted our family for generations." That afternoon, Lila found an old journal tucked beneath the floorboards in the attic. Its leather cover was cracked and worn. Inside, the pages were filled with elegant handwriting, dated back to the early 1900s. The journal belonged to Violet's mother, Beatrice Thornton. As Lila read, she discovered stories of love and loss, of a forbidden romance that had threatened to tear the family apart. There were mentions of a melody composed in secret, a tune that held the key to the family's deepest sorrow. The music box, it seemed, was not just a keepsake. It was a lock, protecting a secret so powerful that revealing it could change everything. As dusk fell, the wind began to howl outside, rattling the windows. Lila sat in the dim light, the journal open on her lap, the music box beside her. The tune played again, soft and clear, as if urging her onward. She realized that this was no ordinary inheritance. It was a challenge, a call to uncover the truth buried beneath years of silence. The shadows lengthened, and Lila felt the weight of history pressing down on her. Whatever secrets Aunt Violet had tried to hide, they were now hers to face. The next morning, with the journal tucked under her arm, Lila decided to explore the basement of the old Thornton house. She had noticed a heavy wooden door at the end of a narrow corridor that had been locked tight. No one in the family had ever mentioned it. The air grew cooler as she descended the creaky stairs. Dust filled the room, and cobwebs hung like curtains. The door was solid oak, with an old-fashioned iron lock. Lila's heart raced as she pulled the keys from a small box on a nearby shelf, a set she had found earlier in the attic. With trembling hands, she inserted the largest key into the lock. The mechanism clicked and the door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit room filled with old furniture and stacks of letters bound with faded ribbons. Lila carefully picked up one bundle and untied the ribbon. The letters were written in a delicate script, dated from the early 20th century. They spoke of a secret love affair between Beatrice Thornton and a young composer from a nearby village. Their romance was forbidden by the strict expectations of the Thornton family. One letter caught her attention. It described a melody composed by the young man, said to hold magical power, capable of healing wounds of the heart and mind. The music box, Lila realized, must have contained this very composition. But the letters also spoke of tragedy. The lovers were torn apart by jealous relatives and family duty. The melody was locked away to protect it from falling into the wrong hands. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed down the corridor. Lila turned to see a man standing in the shadows. His eyes were sharp, and his presence unsettling. "You shouldn't be here," he said quietly. "That music box carries more danger than you know." Lila's grip tightened around the letters. She knew this was just the beginning of something much larger. A secret buried deep in her family's past that threatened to surface once more. Lila's heart pounded as the man's words hung in the air. She studied his face, trying to place him, but the dim light made it difficult. "Who are you?" she asked, steadying her voice. "My name is Thomas. I've been watching over the Thornton estate for years," he said cautiously. "There are things about this family you don't understand. That music box is the key to more than just old memories." Lila's curiosity grew. "What do you mean?" Thomas sighed and stepped closer. "The melody inside that box is said to have a power that can change fate. Long ago, someone tried to use it for revenge. It tore the family apart. Since then, we've kept it hidden to protect everyone." The weight of his words settled on Lila. She glanced back at the letters in her hand, the stories of forbidden love and heartbreak suddenly seeming more dangerous. "Why tell me this now?" she asked. "Because you're the last of the Thornton line," Thomas said quietly. "If the melody falls into the wrong hands, it could bring ruin. You must decide whether to uncover the truth or keep the secret buried." Lila looked around the shadowed room, the past pressing in on her from every corner. She knew that whatever she chose next would change her life forever. As she stepped back into the light of the main house, Lila felt the weight of history on her shoulders. The melody was more than music. It was a legacy, and it was calling her to uncover its secrets, no matter the cost. Determined to learn more, Lila spent the following days poring over the letters and journal entries. Each word revealed the painful story of Beatrice Thornton and her forbidden love with the young composer, Henry Caldwell. Their meetings had been stolen moments of joy, always under the cover of night. The letters described Henry's secret compositions, melodies inspired by their love, full of hope and longing. One particular piece was said to hold the power to heal emotional wounds, a gift from Henry's heart. Lila discovered that Henry had mysteriously disappeared shortly after the final letter. Some believed he had fled to avoid the wrath of the Thornton family, while others whispered darker possibilities. She also found a hidden map tucked between the pages of the journal. It marked a spot deep in the Devon countryside, near an old ruined chapel. The map was annotated with the words, "The Composer's Rest." With a mix of excitement and fear, Lila knew she had to visit the place. Maybe there, she could finally uncover the truth about Henry Caldwell, and the secret melody that Aunt Rose had refused to share. Early one misty morning, Lila packed a small bag and set out from the Pembroke estate. The air was crisp, and the countryside around Devon was waking slowly with the soft chirping of birds and rustling leaves. She felt a strange mix of excitement and nervousness as she followed the old map, winding through narrow lanes bordered by hedgerows thick with wildflowers. The path led her deep into the countryside, where time seemed to stand still. Ancient oaks towered above, their branches casting long shadows across the ground. Lila's thoughts drifted to the stories in the letters, the stolen glances, the secret meetings, and the forbidden love between Beatrice and Henry. After nearly 2 hours of walking, she came upon the ruins of the chapel marked on the map. Moss covered the crumbling stone walls, and wild ivy crept over the remnants of stained glass windows. The air here was heavy with silence, broken only by the distant call of a lone hawk circling overhead. Lila stepped inside carefully. The floor was cracked and uneven, but in the center lay a stone altar covered in dust and fallen leaves. She noticed an engraving faintly visible on the altar's surface. Musical notes delicately carved into the stone. Her fingers traced the melody. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the chapel, making her shiver. It was as if the past was reaching out to her. Near the altar, she spotted a small metal box, rusted with age. Heart pounding, she opened it to find a folded sheet of music, the very composition Henry had written, the secret melody that had been locked away for decades. Just then, a voice called from outside. "Lila, what have you found?" She turned to see Thomas stepping into the chapel's shadow, his expression a mix of caution and relief. "The melody," she whispered. "It's real. And it's here." Thomas nodded. "Now we must protect it. and decide what to do next. Back at the Pembroke estate, Lila and Thomas laid out the fragile sheet music on a large oak table in the library. The faded notes seemed to shimmer under the soft glow of the candlelight, as if holding a secret of their own. Lila felt a strange energy in the room, a mixture of anticipation and unease. Determined to understand the melody's true power, Lila carefully began to play the tune on the old piano in the music room. The notes flowed gently at first, then grew stronger, filling the house with a haunting beauty that seemed to stir forgotten memories. As the last note faded, Lila noticed something unusual. The air felt warmer, almost alive. The portraits on the walls seemed to watch her, their eyes full of sadness and hope. Thomas stepped closer. "The melody is more than just music," he said quietly. "It carries the emotions of those who created it. It can heal, but also awaken long-buried pain." Lila's mind raced. Could this be the key to reconciling the fractured family? To healing the wounds that had been hidden for generations? That night, Lila dreamed of Beatrice and Henry, their love unfolding in vivid colors and sounds. She awoke with a renewed sense of purpose, ready to face whatever secrets the melody would reveal next. But as dawn broke over the Devon countryside, an ominous shadow loomed. Someone was watching, waiting for the right moment to claim the melody for themselves. Days passed, and the presence watching from the shadows grew stronger. One evening, as Lila practiced the melody again, the front door creaked open. A tall figure stepped inside. Aunt Rose. Her eyes held a mixture of sorrow and resolve. "I warned you, Lila," she said softly. "That melody was never meant to be found." Lila's heart pounded. "Why, Aunt Rose? What are you protecting?" Rose sighed and sat beside her. "The melody carries the story of a love so forbidden it nearly destroyed our family. I vowed to keep it hidden to protect you all. But now it's time to face the past." She revealed the truth about Beatrice and Henry. How their love challenged the strict traditions of the Pembroke family. How the melody was Henry's way of expressing hope amid despair. Rose confessed that she once loved Henry's descendant, a secret she kept to spare the family more pain. Now, the choice lay with Lila. To keep the melody locked away, preserving the past silence, or to share it and heal the wounds long buried. Lila looked at the faded notes, then at Rose. "I choose to share the melody. Our family deserves to remember and to heal." Aunt Rose smiled faintly, the weight on her shoulders seeming to lift. "Then let the music begin." As the first notes filled the Pembroke estate once more, a new chapter in their family's story was ready to unfold, one of forgiveness, love, and the courage to face the truth.